Hi, y'all. Christian Stylez here. Hi. So, I just wanted to have a little conversation while I am here and I am just chilling, honestly. I'm just chilling here. And I thought I'd have a conversation about a few things that are not really bothering me, but it's a topic that I don't think enough of us talk about. Okay. And my good friend, He Heals, is actually on YouTube Live right now having the same discussion. And I thought that I do a lot of topic videos, but I haven't done a topic on this particular, very complex and diverse topic. So I figured, what the hell? I'm going to talk about it. I feel like 2021 has been a eye-opener for me and for so many other people. And I feel that because it's such an eye-opener, I have started to live my life differently because of it. And I am kind of like take no prisoners kind of thing right now and living my life the way that I want to. But the ignorance kind of stops you from doing that, if that makes sense. And there's such a what's the word? There's such a overhang of ignorance. And it's not just in the LGBTQIA plus community, it's in the heterosexual community, it's in the bisexual community, it's everywhere. It's even in the asexual community. It's people's mindsets that need to change when we're talking about masculine and feminine energy. That's just what needs to change. And I know it's kind of like, how do we go about doing that? Well, it's very simple. Masculine and feminine energy, they both live within every single human being. So I feel like sometimes when it gets misconstrued, or when masculine and feminine energy gets brought up and you think that masculine energy belongs to someone who identifies as male and a female, or feminine energy is something that belongs to someone who identifies as female, are two very skewed viewpoints and probably the stupidest, ignorant thing anybody could ever say. But there's millions of Americans that walk around thinking that the two are interchangeable. They are not. Something that is masculine energy and something that is feminine energy has nothing to do with someone's gender or sex at all. That is a biological, chemical infusion, because we are all born with both. Okay? So I feel like the minute people get over the hump of thinking that you need to assign something to everybody and label people, the happier we will be, the happier all of us will be. And I've wanted to talk about this topic for so long, and I just never did, because I'm thinking, this is common sense, and this is not something that I should have to even discuss. But clearly, this is something that I do need to bring up, that I do need to address, because so much of us don't even know that there is a true difference, just because of, and there's such a double standard, and I'm going to talk about that too. And I feel like the biggest double standard is that when a female is masculine, like I have a mother that's extremely masculine. She likes sports, she grew up playing baseball and stuff like that, and doing all the more masculine things. And she loved to raise her boys more than she, cared for the girls and the girly things. That's just her. That's just who she is. But nobody would dare question a woman for being too masculine. But when it's the other way around, or if it's on the other end of the spectrum, where it's someone who identifies as male being too feminine or whatever, then all of a sudden sexuality gets brought into it. Why can a woman be totally masculine but still be a heterosexual woman? Why is there such a double standard when it comes to people who identify as male? Now, I identify as non-binary, so it's totally different ballgame for me, because I am neither male nor female. I am they, them. Those are my pronouns, they, them. So it's kind of interesting in a way, for me at least, to look out on this situation, because really I don't care that much, if that makes sense. Like, I could care less what the next bitch thinks of me, but it's just the fact that we even have to have this conversation at all. Like, a girl can go into the boys' bathroom and nobody's gonna even bat an eyelash, but if a guy goes into the girl bathroom, we're there to rape one of them, or, something is just not right. And I honestly feel like that comes down to the battle between masculine and feminine, and the label that gets attached to you when you are on or closer to either side of the spectrum. If you're closer to masculine, then you're a dyke, then you're a stud, or, and then if you're more feminine, then you have to be gay. There's no way that a feminine man could sleep with women, or, there's no way that women would allow that. And, there's so many different principles that go along with it. Maybe that guy was raised primarily by women, so, he takes their mannerisms, he takes that side more. Let's be honest, especially in the African American community. And that's why the African American community, the men in the community, they try so hard to be hyper masculine or super straight, as they say. And in all honesty, they're just trying to cover up a void because they didn't have a dad and their dad walked out on them, as most African American fathers do. Their dads just say, the hell with them. I have all the friends that I have don't have fathers. As sad as that is, whether they're girls or boys, and when you ask them what happened to their father, the first thing that they say is, my father left. When are we going to get to the point where that is not the case? When are we going to get to the point where, regardless of who you get raised by or whatever, I feel like even that doesn't even matter, because God makes you who you are. So it's kind of like, yes, this is the way that you're choosing to live your life, and this is the path that you are choosing to walk. But in all honesty, God is your creator. He knew what your story was because he wrote it. So it's kind of like, why do we pay so much attention to these things? Why do we care so much when we honestly shouldn't? We should just live every day being our authentic selves and hope that people can accept us for who we are. And if they cannot, then that is not a friend. Then that is not someone you need in your life or need in your space. It is just very plain and simple. This is not a battle. This shouldn't be a battle. This should not be... This shouldn't even be a discussion. It's 2021. Like, who gives a fuck? But the fact that it is a discussion, let's play on it a little bit. Why is it that females get treated differently? Nobody cares if you're a dyke. Nobody cares if you're a stud. Nobody cares if you're a masculine woman. Nobody cares if you're a wrestler. Nobody cares if that woman is a bodybuilder. But if it's a man who does things that the world perceives as feminine or that belongs to a certain sex, which nothing in this world belongs to either sex. If you really read your history books, you'll know that, first of all, men were the first sex to be created, and men are just all that more powerful than women and will always be. And on top of that, you guys need to get to the point and understand the history of the world and America. Who founded things first? Where did things originally come from? Because man in heels, that was what it was back in the day. We started that before women thought that it would be fashionable for them. We started everything. The male species started everything. Makes sense? They wore wigs first. They wore makeup first. They wore heels first. So now in the 21st century, that is so taboo to see that. I am sick and tired of walking into a store with signs above the ceilings on Target and Macy's and J.C. Penney telling me which side is for the men and which side is for the women. Clothes are all made in the same factory, the same way by a different streamsist. It doesn't matter who the seamstress was. It doesn't matter what type of fabric was used. At the end of the day, it is fabric. It is still cotton. It is still polyester. It is still silk. Whether it's constructed differently to snatch the waist of a woman or to be more bulbous and cover more for a man, it is still just fabric. It is still just a piece of clothing. Clothing does not have a gender at all, point blank, period, dot. It doesn't matter who manufactured it, whether it's from Gucci, whether it's from Louis Vuitton, whether it's from Christian Louboutin. It doesn't matter. We need to get over this constant struggle. It's dividing the world. I think Trump has already done that for our country enough. There was already too much division as it is. We need to come together instead of trying to tear bits and pieces of everybody's community apart. What satisfaction do you get out of that? Truly, I want to understand people's mindsets. Where does it come from? Where do we get off telling somebody who they are or who they're going to be or where they're going to end up when they die? How do you know that? Are you dead? Have you gone to heaven and come back? Have you gone to hell and come back? None of us that are living and breathing know what that looks like. So for people to use things like the Bible to condemn somebody's way of life is just absolutely ludicrous. And for a book that promotes more murder than anything else in it, you're going to use the Bible for your reference? Really? Interesting. As a pastor and as a legally ordained minister, this is coming from me. Someone who preached the Bible, someone who stood up at the pulpit and guided thousands of people in this country. I am here to tell you that I don't take every word in the Bible for verbatim, because a lot of it is not what it should be. A lot of it is man-made. A lot of it has been altered. The same scriptures, a lot of the people in the LGBTQIA plus community get used against them time and time again, like the verse that supposedly says man shall not lay with man. No. The original saying was man shall not lay with boy, meaning child, meaning pedophilia, is what it was condemning. Nowhere in the Bible, in red text, does Jesus or God ever speak the words of homosexual or gay or anything along those lines. Nowhere in the book does it say anything about that. Nowhere. But there are so many people who want to use that to push their lame agenda and then say that TV is making us this way and the media is spinning things to our advantage. They tried to cancel SpongeBob because it was a bad influence for our children. I don't think SpongeBob is making anybody gay. Truly and honestly. Yes, the original show was supposed to be Patrick and SpongeBob were supposed to be lovers. I get that. But they scrapped that idea, and that's why it went to Nickelodeon instead of Adult Swim. Okay? So even if they were to come out with that version today, you think I wouldn't let my kids watch it? My wife and I would let my kids watch it. Because who cares? Who cares? In all honesty, I'm getting to the point where I just want everyone to live for them. if we are going to get judged at the end of our lives, I think that we are going to get judged based on whether or not we were a good person and whether or not we made a difference, not who we love or who we choose to be with or how we chose to go about our lives. If it was positive, of course. If it was negative and we live to only destroy and tear down, okay, well then judge me accordingly. But I feel like nobody who isn't God or my Savior should be or feel the right or think that they have the right to judge me. Who are you to think that you can tell me anything? And I just want all this to go away. I want this nonsense to stop. I want this white versus black to stop too. And that is a whole nother concept. And that is a whole nother topic that I will talk about eventually. Someone who was raised by white people. All white people are not bad white people. And I feel like that is where the world is. That is where the world has gone. Where you think that every white person was a slave owner. Every white person looks to keep blacks enslaved. That's not true. And just where the world is now with coronavirus and everything else, do you really think anybody gives a shit? Do you honestly believe that anybody, like, who gives a flying fuck? Nobody cares these days. If anything, the fact that we bring a more, and I'm saying we as in my community, we bring a different outlook to the world and perspectives, and we have people like James Charles, who doesn't really deserve his platform, but he's there anyways. People like him who are supposed to be a figurehead for my community, for men in makeup, for, you know, the men in the beauty industry. James Charles is only where he is because all the other people in this beauty space, except for myself, have it that much more rough, okay? And are terrible human beings. Jeffree Star, terrible human being, okay? His little best friend who preys on innocent children, terrible human being, okay? I can't even think of his name right now because he's such a non-factor. Everyone else in the male beauty space has failed miserably. They failed miserably because they are just terrible people. So James Charles, young and white and ambitious, rose to the top. Not because he deserved it, because of the color of his skin. He got things easier. And that is another thing. Anybody who is in the LGBTQIA plus community, and me as a non-binary person, I am a part of that community. We don't get praise and we don't get recognition for our hard work in the things that we do. I sit on here and I slave day after day after day after day after day as a content creator, all for my work to mean absolutely nothing in the eyes of most Americans because of the color of my skin. And we lift people like James Charles up on a pedestal and a platform when they don't deserve to be there. Plain and simple. It was easy for him. A lot of these white creators, they take our ideas and they run with them. All the TikTok dances that are done by black people took those and ran with them and made them something else. Made them go viral because they see a little white boy or a little white girl doing it. And I'm not trying to knock down one of my own, because honestly, James Charles is one of my own, whether I like it or not. And I will respect him and everything that he has done, but he did not earn it. He did not earn it. The world gave it to him because it was like it was supporting the lesser evil. And James was just that. He was the lesser evil. So, in all honesty, I feel like we look for things to be angry about. We look for things to not like, to disapprove of. Why can't we just learn to get along? Why can't we just uplift to uplift? And I'm mainly talking about the African American community, because you guys have lifted the other side for long enough. White people in America have it all. They have it all. But me, as an African American person, a double minority, has to work twice as hard to get half of what they have. And I am over it. We work so much harder. We are so much better. Half of us look much better. Black people have way more style, way more influence, way more power, way more common sense, way more knowledge. Period. And we get thrown to the wolves. And even the black people who have made it, you think they made it and there's not a single white person on their team that has helped them in some way get their foot in the door? The white people on those black people's teams, Beyonce, Cardi B, there's white people at the top. Whether you see them or not, whether they're visible or not, there is white people at the top that got their name out there, that got their foot in the door. Their publicist is probably a white woman or a white man. And that's some real tea, because you don't see black top the way that you should. Black people really running the damn thing the way they should. Unless you're Oprah, Tyler Perry, Shonda Rhimes. Those are the only black people that I can even think of that have truly made a difference. And that is sad. Talk about 1%. Probably less than 1%. I didn't mean for this to get angry and emotional, so I am most certainly going to stop while I am ahead. But these are the things that you need to think about. These are the things that America needs to think about. And I hope that we are able to conquer. Stay perfectly imperfect. And I will see all of you guys next time. Love you. Subscribe. Goodbye.